All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Council. This is our regular meeting of June 10th, 2026. It is now 6:30 p.m., and I will call the meeting to order. And I also acknowledge that all members of Council are present with us this evening. Before we begin, I'll state the Township land acknowledgement. The Township of Adjala-Tosorontio is situated on the lands within Treaty 18, being the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples, including the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. This land is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We acknowledge Indigenous peoples as stewards of the land, and we honor their resilience as well as their culture and have our shared respect for the lands, plants, animals, and waterways which sustains us all. We recognize the injustices against Indigenous peoples and are mindful that the decisions of government impact our shared land and all the inhabitants. We commit to reconciliation as a journey to foster Indigenous cultural awareness and educational opportunities, establish respectful and healthy relations with Indigenous peoples, continue to steward the land and its inhabitants, and to cultivate an inclusive community for all. This evening, there was no closed session, so we are in open session here at 6:30 p.m. Council, we're on item 4. Are there any additions to the agenda tonight? Seeing none. Item 5, adoption of the agenda. And the recommendation is that the agenda for the regular council meeting held on Wednesday, June 10, 2026 be adopted as presented. Do you have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Borzos, second by Councillor O'Leary. Any questions or comments on the agenda? All those in favor? And that is carried. Item 6 is disclosure of pecuniary interest. Are there any disclosure at this time? And seeing none, if you do find yourself in that situation at a later time, please declare. Item 7, adoption of the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes, one from the regular council meeting on May 13th and the special council meeting on May 22nd. Are there any comments on the minutes? Seeing none, the recommendation is that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on Wednesday, May 13, 2026 be adopted as presented, and that the minutes of the special council meeting held on Friday, May 22nd, 2026 be adopted as presented. A mover for that recommendation, please. Councillor Cox, second by Deputy Mayor Laux. All those in favor? And that is carried. Item 8, presentations. We have one presentation this evening from our CAO, Chris Kalamutu, regarding the building for our future strategic plan June 2026 report card. So I'll turn it over to Chris for the presentation, please.
Thank you, Worship. So this is the second iteration of my report from update from last year, and what we've done is just added the same completed, in progress, or future phases as noted in the presentation. And what I'll do is I'll just go over certain ones very, very quickly, but even those that were already completed, as an example, I've updated some of those to reflect what that staff have been doing and council have been doing over the past year. So even though they were complete, let's say they're even more complete now. So with that, we'll start off. So the first one was operations and good governance. These, again, were completed before, but I do want to point out a few things as an example that all of our 2025 approved positions have been filled. Section 357 of the process for tax forgiveness for houses destroyed by fire has also been completed there too. So again, even more complete. This one. In the second page of this, all of these 3 actually have moved up. So 1.4, 1.5, 1.6. Some of the highlights, again, updating a parking bylaw for sidewalks and fire hydrants. We have development charges bylaw, Q2 adoption, that's on the docket for tonight. We have updated records and retention policy and training. And we have implemented First Due fire software and records management implementation. We also have a public-facing map for planning applications and status. So all good things that are happening here. For the next one, again, these were provided as completed status before, but we have enhanced it with a few things, including some IT security training that we've been completing to ensure that we have checks and balances as we move through our IT securities. For 2, financial sustainability, a couple of these have also now been completed. Our fees and charges are being reviewed on an annual basis. We have $64 million for water and wastewater funding. We have funding for trails, fire equipment, and also some special event funding that we recently received, along with completing our 6-year water financial plan under Section 2.3 for water service sustainability. We also have one that moved up here in Section 2.4, finishing up some Loretto water main upgrades for Section 2.4. We have our capital budget approved early, and some of our tenders have came in at reduced prices. Therefore, our capital projects were slightly expanded in scope, and that was even up to just last council meeting where we had some good road asphalting prices come in just because we got out so early with our budgets. We're able to expand on that. And a couple things that we're still working on. And we have non-compliance cost increases to partially cover some of our legal costs and fees. So we've upped those fees so that we are completely covered and they're not as subsidized as they were before. Moving on to community and vitality planning, we have our official plan complete. So that first one that you see up there is a huge check mark for us to be completed. I'm going to note this later, but we have some pickleball courts that were approved and are moving forward with that one. And so there's a lot of things on the go here. The next page from 3.5 and 3.8, again, some of these that were stagnant before, we are now moving on them. Again, our OP for our promoting Highway 89 corridor, our official plan identifies the 89 corridor and what we need to do to improve it. So we have some of those actions on that and creating an identity for our community. We've launched an accessible website and we have public education events. For example, in 2005, there were 24 just by our fire department alone. So we are getting out into the community, showing who we are and what we do. Again, to try to keep this short, we're going to move over from 3.9 and 310 because those are fairly stagnant. But again, we are doing some things with regard to participating in Nottawasaga's features and, looking at procuring local if appropriate. Some things that were updated in communications. We have social media being monitored and utilized, and Mayor and Council have had their own open houses that have been conducted throughout this year too. For the next one, again, we have another movement on these with regard to development communications plan and our website, which I'll be talking about later tonight. And we have one of my favorite things with regard to increased community engagement and participation. It was Name Our Plows. So we have names for all of our plows, and the schools participated in the Paint to Plow service, and all of those plows in the winter go by those particular schools for those particular routes. So that's kind of a very nice community engagement piece that I really love. On the next slide, we have increase in a lot of the hard surface roads as was approved by council last month. And we have planning, building, and bylaw quarterly reports, which you'll see throughout the years also. So that kind of moves to our level of service and understanding what our level of service is and reporting back on those. For the next one, there's a couple other ones that have been improved. We have some increased ability to fight wildfires with some equipment that we got approval for and some funding from the provincial government, $50,000, which was a great success to buy some of that equipment. And we have a shed to be built in Colgan for our sidewalk snowplow. So we'll be increasing that as we've purchased those pieces of equipment. And again, we have some the DCs on the docket tonight. And We also are in discussions with ESSA to talk about temporary library satellite office for this municipal center here. So again, it is something that is progressing, not quite finished there, but those are the other things that we're working on. On the next slide, there's another couple things that have moved forward. Winter maintenance of the municipal office pathway. It's a huge thing for this community. Every time I look out my window, I see somebody walking on it. And now that we have it, we have the winter maintenance on it. Even in the dead of winter, people are walking on it. So it is a great place to come out, to enjoy the area and to get a little bit of exercise. And now, even in the winter. We have trail signage that we're going to be putting up with the TRCA and the county. We have some additional signage. So again, that turned in from a $5,000 project to a $15,000 project just because of the help that we get. So that increases our outdoor recreation, including our pathways. And again, the pickleball court, which we'll be mentioning later. We also have a trade-in value with regard to our municipal fleet. So because we were able to get it to into an area where they could be bid on at a good time with good value when the fleet itself was in a decent enough shape, we got better than expected values. So I think it was mentioned by the Director of Engineering Public Works that we got $16,000 more than we expected from one of the fire trucks that we traded in. So again, well on our way. Moving into the rest of the infrastructure area, we have the GIS, which is public facing in Q4, which you'll hear about more this fall. We have more vendors on what we call the EFTs for payment. So that is through the computer now. So instead of writing a check that could be lost in the mail, etc., it is now electronic payments. It's more immediate. So that's the kind of utilizing the technology to deliver that higher level of customer service. And we use technology also to communicate. So we have dual SIMs now for all of our outside personnel, just in case. So it moves from the Bell to the Rogers back and forth, depending on who has the best signal there, so we don't get lost while we're communicating with our outside workers, etc. So utilizing that information and upgrading that information to do so. And then for environmental sustainability, we have the county forest tree thinning program that we've worked with the county on, just near our south yard, and equipment to maintain parks that the council heard about in the last meeting that we're ordering. And then provincial policy and land designation were incorporated into our OP. Again, that was just passed by council. So a lot of things on the go. I know that was a very quick kind of pick and choose of some of those, but there are 42 identified areas here. 16 of them have actually moved up in the past year. 23 of them have been completed, with 17 in progress, and only 2 waiting for some future phases. So just goes to show you what the progress that council and administration have made throughout the past year or 2 or 3, and how we move forward with what we have on council's strategic plan and how we're getting it done. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. I do appreciate it, Mr. Kalamutu, and I'm sure everyone on council and the community does too, because for a long time we weren't looking at our strat plan, and we are now, and something that if you don't put the goal on paper, you don't follow it. I heard that yesterday from a gentleman, and so I'll state that again. We've done a lot in the 4 years, and I want to commend council and staff for getting the strat plan in place, and then actually setting goals and following them and completing these tasks, because we do see the things that happen in our community, and it's much appreciated. So are there any questions through to Mr. Kalamutu? I have a few on this side. I'll go to Deputy Mayor Locks first, please.
Thank you through the chair. I just wanted to thank everybody for one. You guys have done a great job. I just wanted to make sure that this report card's available online for all residents to see through our website.
Through your worship, yeah, it is on the agenda for anybody to see. It is an extra click, but everything is there. Again, it's much more than what I just mentioned, but absolutely, there are many, many things on each of those individual things. I just, in the notification of time, I didn't want to take all night, so I just hit the highlights. But absolutely, Deputy Mayor, if anybody would like to take a look at all the other things that we've accomplished that I did not have time to go through, please go and take a look at that.
Okay,
That report
perfect.
card.
Thank you.
Councillor Cox?
Yeah, through the chair, I would just like to say that this report card shows that what a fuller complement of staff is able to complete with good leadership, and that's through all levels of management down to our frontline staff, and everybody should be proud of the work they've been able to complete. We see it, so thank you.
All right, other comments or questions? Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, I just have a few questions that you brought up on the report. One of them was the entire fire department meets and trains together. I thought they always did that. No?
Mr. Kalamutu?
Through your worship, because we have 2 fire stations in previous history, some of the certain training were done separately, one for the north, one for the south. Well, we don't do that anymore. We bring everybody together as one fire department family to do all training. So not just one. It's everybody together for absolutely every kind of training, not just health and safety, mental health, etc. That's done with everybody in the room now.
Supplemental.
Yes, sir.
So does that mean they alternate which station they go to each time for training, or what happens?
Mr. Kalamutu?
Through your worship, without the fire chief here, he's on vacation, but what usually happens is there's training here on every Tuesday evening, and so depending on what kind of coverage we need, it also depends on that. And so sometimes we have to do physical training, depending if it's at a station or not and what the station's equipped with, but we always have to ensure that we always have coverage for each station, and we also have our partners in the neighboring municipalities just in case we need them for coverage.
Supplemental.
Yes, sir.
Also on action 1.2, you have down here mental health more accessible to volunteers. What's that mean? I thought mental health issues was all under our occupational health and safety, and everybody had access to that all the time. So I'm just curious on why it's as a key achievement, because it should have been enforced a long time ago.
Can I just clarify, is that for the fire department or for
No, well, it
staff?
says 1.2. It doesn't. It just says mental health more accessible to volunteers. They're not volunteers. They're paid
paid.
firefighters.
Yeah,
So
for sure. So maybe Mr. Kalamutu, if you could elaborate on the recent training that they had a consultant come in with their families as well?
Yes, and sorry, my apologies. It is paid on call as opposed to volunteers. It's my mistake. But yes, what we've done is we've enhanced. We've brought a doctor in with regard to psychological help for our paid-on-call firefighters and their families. So we're actually showing a little bit more support for the fire department. So it is for the fire department. We do have a baseline with regard to what other staff have available with regard to the employee assistance program. So we do have that as the baseline. This is more of an enhancement for the firefighters, for the fire department,
okay, thank you.
and their families.
Because it's very, being on the fire department, we always had access to mental health representatives and that. So I just thought this was so this is an enhancement on top of that, which I think is great. Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay. And just echo that point, I had actually a discussion with the chief following that, and actually some of the firefighters as well, and they had indicated that their families quite enjoyed or appreciated that opportunity, because it shed some light on what families face at home when a volunteer firefighter, paid on call, as you might say, is out and then coming home after a traumatic call or something like that. So they can pick up on signs and things like that. So it's a great resource to have, and I do appreciate the chief and staff for putting that on. I did have one further question, and I know it's just maybe a bit minuscule here, but we have started with the EFTs for Treasury. There has been some talk about e-transfers and/or billing and user groups of trying to streamline a process where they can pay all at once. So maybe at the end of the year, or if they can e-transfer. But I just wanted to leave that with staff, because I know it has been raised to me several times. And something that maybe we could add to our goals. All right, seeing no further questions, the recommendation is that the presentation from Chris Kalamutu, CAO, regarding Building for the Future, Strategic Plan, June 2026, report card be received. Councillor Simpson, second by Councillor Meadows. All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, we're on to item 9, which is deputations. We have 3 this evening. So our first deputation is from Michael Genua and at 7028 Pine Plains Road in Everett, regarding request for exemption to bylaw 0540, which is our fencing bylaw. Michael, are you in the audience? Okay, if you'd like to come up to the podium, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. If you could just make sure the green light's on the mic there. If you,
Okay, it's on.
It's up. And welcome, and proceed with your comments.
Thank you. My wife and I moved to a new home, well, a resale at 7028 Pine Plains Road back in February 18th, the worst day of winter. We thought it was a beautiful neighborhood, peaceful, quiet, because we're both retired and we wanted peace and quiet. Unfortunately, when the snow all melted and disappeared, some of the grass started growing green, and all I heard in the backyard was dirt bikes. I know I shouldn't be talking about it, but it's a nuisance. They're very loud. I spoke to the gentleman that owns the property. At first, it was somewhat heated. Spoke to him again. We got into a confrontation, which led to nothing but foul language. So my wife and I decided to plant some trees. We did that. Just to hide what's going on back there. The noise still travels through. So what my wife and I are requesting is that we put up a 8-foot or 10-foot fence, so acting as a barrier to prevent all the noise coming to our property, which is infringing on our, peace and quiet and livelihood. So I'm asking for your blessing.
Okay, thank you. If you don't mind, just stand there for a moment, and we'll see if there's any questions or comments from council members.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor Laux.
Thank you, through the chair. Are you planning on encapsulating your whole property with
No,
this
just the
fence?
back of the property where his property is.
The
Where his
south?
property butts up to my property.
The south fence line?
There's already a fence there, but it's one of those farm fences.
Okay.
So I want to put a barrier type of wall, fence. I've had a few quotes from gentlemen. So either I go 8 feet or more. If I do a 6-foot fence, it serves no purpose. Even an 8-foot fence might not do it. I'd have to go a lot higher, so the noise from their motoring around can bounce back to them. And I will hear just a murmur coming to my side of the property. Like we hear it in the house. We got the TV on, we crank up the TV even louder, and it still goes on, and we still hear it. It's annoying,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cox.
Yeah, through the chair, given that it's not going surrounding the property and given its geographical location, kind of like the end of the road on a really less traveled road, I personally don't see any issue with an 8-foot fence. So you do have my support.
Thank you.
Councillor Meadows.
Yeah, I'd just like to talk with our staff for a second, if I could, on this. I thought we had noise bylaws and that in place. And also, if it's in a residential area, how is somebody able to build a bike trail in a residential area in their property?
Okay, I'll go to Ms. Anderson on some of the details. I know some of the issue are with regards to bylaws, so cannot be said tonight at the meeting, but for what Ms. Anderson can provide.
The overall zoning for the property that has the bikes is agricultural. There's not necessarily a track. The property abutting the resident here is quite large, so the kids run the property area, and we don't have anything in our nuisance bylaw or any of the other bylaws that speaks to dirt bikes.
Supplemental,
Yes,
Your
sir.
Worship? Well, I got here that there's a letter here in front of me that says he's excavated a track on agricultural property. So if there's an excavated track on agricultural property, then he needs a permit to do that, does he not?
Yes, and by law enforcement, have been out to the property and didn't identify any excavated track per se.
It is there.
With
Sorry.
ramps or anything like that, there wasn't anything identifiable when he went out to the property.
Well, I can get you pictures on that. There is a track.
So I do appreciate the concern which has led you here to us tonight, but the topic on tonight's agenda is the fence exemption, so that's what we're going to speak on. So, Councillor Meadows, do you have any further comments with regards to the exemption? We're not talking about the issue that's led the gentleman here this
Well, I'd
evening.
like to put a motion forward then that, to allow the gentleman to at least be able to build a 8 to 10 foot fence in his backyard to at least enjoy his summer. I'd like to put that motion forward. I don't know if I have a seconder to get that on the floor, but
Okay, at the moment, we're not entertaining any motions because I have not run around the table to see if there's any further comments. So I would like to, for council, we have a deputation in front of us.
Okay.
I'd like for if there's comments from other council members to have those comments before we put any motions on the floor. So, Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, through the chair. Would an 8-foot fence at the back of your property be enough to
No.
prevent the sound?
No, it will not.
So,
8 feet will just deter nothing. It will not help.
would a 10-foot be enough?
10 foot might help, might work, because those bikes are really, really loud.
How are you
and-
going to build this fence that's going to prevent
By
the sound? Is there
professionals.
going to be sound barriers as part of
By
it?
professionals, it's gonna cost me an arm and a leg to put this fence up by a professional. I've already had a quote, and it's gonna cost us almost 17 grand
Yes.
for a 30-foot fence, 10 feet high. Well, actually, he said 8.5 feet high, and I said, I wanna go higher, and he goes, well, it's gonna be a little more money.
Right.
So it's like, I don't have to spend this money to get peace and quiet in my own backyard.
Well, this was my thought, that, even if you were to build a fence
Mm-hmm.
along your boundary, sound travels, and
Yeah.
that may not be sufficient. So, do you have any other plans that you can do to prevent the sound?
What can I do?
I don't know. And
Yeah, like,
this
The only other
respectfully, this
solution,
is,
the only other solution I could do is just pick up and sell the house,
no,
which is a joke.
no, and I'm not suggesting
Yeah.
that. I
Okay,
think-
so I'm going to cut that again. The gentleman's here to ask for an exemption to the fencing bylaw. So if there's other suggestions that you might have, you can offer them. But unless there needs to be an exemption to the bylaw,
So,
it's up to him to decide as to, or him and his wife as to decide what they would do for the next steps.
so respectfully, my query was to determine whether an 8-foot would be sufficient, and perhaps up to a 10-foot is what council should probably be approving, to assist the gentleman here.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So, and I can see that was where we were going in the questioning. So I can't support a 10-foot fence. I could do an 8, but I can't support a 10. It sets a dangerous precedence in this community for a residential house to have a 10-foot fence. Councillor Borzos, did you have any comments?
Yes, through the chair, and just wanted to welcome Michael, and having spoken to him
We have, yes.
extensively about the topic back then. Quick research shows that an 8.5-foot acoustic dampening fence or panel would do the trick for something like this. So I would be more than happy to support
Thank you.
his request for that. I don't know if the 10-foot fence is out of out of reach for us, but at 8.5 is, I mean, I don't know. If the professional says it should be 10 foot, maybe we should consider the 10 foot, but definitely something that,
It's only 300 feet.
Feet.
yeah.
30 feet.
30 feet.
30 feet,
It's
yeah.
only 30
Yeah.
feet at 10 feet high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor O'Leary, you're comfortable then? I'm just going to go to Ms. Anderson. Just looking at fencing of that nature, is that common to see in a residential community? Again, this is the first time that I've ever recalled on council that we've had to deal with such a request. And like I said, setting a precedence of trying to figure out where we're going to set that limit is dangerous in my opinion. So I just wanted to see in your experience within the municipality if that's common or not.
We've seen those sound abatement fences, say on the rear yard of a residential property, maybe backing a busier highway or a busier road for sound. They do work. As far as the height, I'm not sure, what is a requirement, what isn't for height to work on it. I do know they are expensive, and the design of them, you would probably want some confirmation for, the wind hitting that type of fence.
Yeah.
When it's 10 feet high. I have seen them if they've not been maintained, or a panel may come down, but you would just want to ask those questions to a reputable contractor that
Yeah,
is
I am
doing.
dealing with a reputable guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they do work for the sound abatement.
Okay, thank you. So council, there was a desire from Councillor Meadows to have a motion on the floor did we decide on a number for height of fence?
Yeah, I give it to the discretion of the homeowner, whether it's 8 or 10 feet. So we give them permission for either 8 or 10. So that's going to up to the maximum of 10 feet for this fence. I mean, we can't provide any other solution for him. So at the least we can do is support him for what he needs. So that's my position on it.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll put that motion forward, and if I can get a seconder.
I'll second that.
All right, so the motion then would be moved by Councillor Meadows, second by Councillor O'Leary, that the property municipally known as 70828 Pine Plains Road, Everett, be exempted from Section 2A of Bylaw 0540 as amended to permit the construction of a rear yard fence with a maximum height of no more than 10 feet. Are there any questions from council on that? And all those in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you.
Okay, so the building department will reach out to you, or the clerk's department will reach out to you, and they will coordinate that out with you, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great evening. All right, on to our second deputation, which is 9.2, and it's a deputation from Robin Strange at 8113 Main Street in Everett regarding request for amendment to bylaw 0540, which is our fencing bylaw. Ms. Strange, thank you for coming in, and you can proceed with your comments.
Thank you. Put it in context, I've lived in Everett for coming on 12 years, and I've seen it come a long way. I live right on the main street. I have a Century home just down from Ivan's Variety, which I care very much about. Anyways, I'm requesting respectfully an amendment to the current fencing bylaws to include snow fences. I have a neighbor that erected one in between the properties, about 25 feet long, made out of plastic and metal. It extends, so my property is right on the main street, so about a good 8 to 10 feet of that fencing is visible from the street, and I can't contest the legality of having a snow fence, but my request would be to just add some framework that exists in other communities, mainly, so like I think fairly reasonable requests. Number one, that there be, so like my issues mainly with maintaining local aesthetics. While I do appreciate the rural nature of Everett, I do think aesthetically that it matters, you know, how we are presenting ourselves. So to maintain local aesthetics and protect property lines, I'm just requesting that we have, you know, bylaws that are currently in place in other communities, including like strict windows. So the snow fence was erected at the beginning of November, and as of May 28th was still up. So like a solid 7 months. And during that time, so it was on the property line, I can't contest that, and the height was in the limitations, but there's nothing in the current fencing bylaws that has any provisions for snow fencing. So I mean, personally, I do think that there should be regulations about what a permanent fence should be made out of, plastic not being one of them. And I do think if it's a temporary snow fence, that it needs to be, like, when can it go up? So in other communities, it's like November 1st, and it should be taken down by April 1st or by the end of April. Number two, that it needs to be structurally sound. So over the course of the 7 months, it slowly sagged and came loose. And so when it does, as you can imagine, when you're trying to, because it goes down the back end of my property, you're trying to blow out the driveway. This particular winter was quite hairy. You can't, it would damage the snow blower if you were to go over the plastic, which is now sagging onto my property line. And obviously, you can't do anything about it, so that happened several times. And secondly, when the spring came, for the first month of, like, I wasn't able to mow my lawn. So it's like a 5-foot strip of land in between the two properties, which I own about a third of. So I wasn't able to cut my grass, you know, stuff like that. So again, I think reasonable requests, if we must have them, that we should follow these. Like, they need to be maintained, like, structurally sound, and removed in a timely fashion at the end of the season. So I think that basically covers it.
Okay. Thank you. So I just wanted to confirm a couple details. So I looked at our fencing bylaw today. So you are correct. A fence is inclusive of plastic. So legally, there's no issue there. It's on the property line. It's a fence line. There's a fence up, and a snow fence counts as a fence.
Mhm.
So we'll try that again. Is it there now? Okay. Sorry. So I'll just continue then. You did actually, yes. So anyways, it constitutes as a legal fence because it's made of that. So you're suggesting that we look at our bylaw to indicate that snow fence can't be used as a permanent fence, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it is meant to be a temporary measure if it's in fact for snow, and that, you know, should have a time frame that, like other communities, that November to April 1st. After that point, there is no snow, so there would be no reason for it to be in place at
Right.
that point. And then secondly, that if you have to have one up, that it can't be sagging onto the property line.
Yes, permanent fence would have to be
Yeah, because
erected
you'd
in
have to
standards.
maintain a
Yes.
permanent fence.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Okay.
think
I just wanted
it
to.
should be left as temporary.
For sure. No, I just wanted to clarify that because as our bylaw reads now, if you put up any kind of plastic fencing, it's legal
Yeah.
fencing as long as it's on the property line.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
contest, I don't think permanent fences should be plastic. I think that there should be some regulations as to, like, what would be an acceptable fence for aesthetic purposes, but that's not my main purpose for being here, but.
Okay, thank you. No, like I said, I wanted to just be clear because for council tonight too, like our fencing bylaw classifies that as a fence, and so if we weren't to look at our bylaw, that's permitted use within the fencing bylaw. So, are there any questions to the deputant? Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, I'm just confused, Debbie, with regards to our fencing bylaw. I thought you'd had, I know chain link fencing has been mentioned in there, but snow fencing, if it's lying down on the ground, that's not a permanent fence. So, in my view, that is a violation, is it not, when somebody's fence is lying on somebody else's property?
So, again, Councillor Meadows, the deputant's in here to speak to asking us to review our bylaw and not to the reasons why she's here.
Well,
I'm not going to
okay.
get back into this back and forth between a neighbor dispute. That does go through our bylaw office and it's dealt with through the bylaw department. So I can understand the concern, but I think the request tonight from the deputant is to ask us to consider looking at our bylaw or having staff look at the bylaw for revisions for aesthetics and for provisions for temporary, i.e. snow fence. Yes. You could certainly do that once I go around the table. Councillor Cox.
Yeah, through the chair, thank you for coming out tonight. I think you've identified a void in our bylaw, which definitely should be looked at. And when a motion comes on the floor, I'd gladly second it. My mic's on. I just talk quietly sometimes. It's not always my outdoor voice.
All right, Deputy Mayor Lux.
Thank you. Just a quick question. So the fencing, is this in the front yard or in the backyard?
Well, I guess the issue is that my house is significantly further ahead of the neighbors. So theirs
Setback.
is like 20 feet behind mine. So they erected the fence to the front of their property, but my house extends like another 10 or 15 feet up. So yes, it is a side fence, but very visible on the main street. So anyone driving down the main street would be seeing this
Okay. So,
falling down plastic snow fence. But
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, Ms. Strange, for your presentation. I think your recommendation and your ask is appropriate. I've been a proponent of making sure that we update our bylaws. This fencing bylaw especially is from 2005, and there have been changes in legislation, there are changes in code, things that we should be capturing as well. And so I think it's appropriate that we do move forward to review it and update it. So I'd be in favor of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from council? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Councillor Meadows, you were looking to move a motion for staff to review the fencing bylaw?
Yeah, just to update it to the new standards that are present today, and also look into the way it's worded so that we don't run into incidents like this again. I do feel, like the resident has been unduly aggravated by this fence. I would, but especially when you're putting a lot of money into your house. So, yeah, let's go forward with looking into changing our bylaw to betterment of the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if I've going to paraphrase that, so it'd be that staff be directed, and I'm going to change it up a wee bit, Ms. Reed, that staff be directed to investigate options for amendments to Township Bylaw 0540, fencing bylaw, including to address snow fences and to bring forward recommendations for council consideration. So what we're asking for is that staff fully investigate the fencing bylaw, just not snow fences, but be inclusive of snow fences to make sure that we're doing it once and come back. All right, so that's moved by Councillor.
Sorry, Your Worship. Can we have a slight amendment to that? Just that fences have to be built to a certain specification. We got to be more specific to what a fence, like what a fence standard is in our community. That like you can't use snow fencing as a fence.
Staff will come back with recommendations,
Yeah,
Council.
no, but I'm just saying if we're going to be telling staff to do something, they have to be informed on what we're looking for a resolution. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. And they've heard it loud and clear, so we're not going to include it as part of the motion. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Cox. All right, any further questions on the resolution? And all those in favor? And that is carried. All right, our third deputation, 9.3, is from Roseanne Fritsch, Friends of Sheldon, regarding request for support for the Sheldon Outdoor Education Center. So Roseanne, if you'd like to come forward, please. Thank you for coming in, and you can proceed.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Anderson, members of Township Council, staff, and everyone else who's joining us here this evening. My name's Roseanne Fritsch, and this is Darlene Marchand, and we're here representing the Friends of Sheldon. The Friends of Sheldon are local residents, some of whom, like myself, have lived in this area for decades. Some are educators, some are parents, some are business owners, and some are simply folks who appreciate living in an open, natural environment and want children who do not have that privilege to get a chance to experience it. Recently, the Toronto District School Board, we'll just call it the TDSB, was taken over by the province, effectively sidelining the elected trustees and assuming direct control over key decisions. In so doing, the province indicated that due to funding shortfalls, several outdoor education centers would be temporarily closed, no longer taking bookings. This includes the Sheldon Outdoor Education Center, which is located in Adjala at 995-243 at Mono Adjala Town Line. The Friends of Sheldon are lobbying the TDSB and the province to keep the Sheldon Center open and to continue providing important education, environmental, and recreational benefits to this essential learning experience for students. We're calling on the TDSB and the province to reevaluate priorities with regards to outdoor education. They did an evaluation in 21-22 in the research and development report that stated the importance of outdoor education. We've offered our support and help in looking for solutions and partnerships to support the government as it works to put school boards on a sound financial footing and to make valuable programming sustainable. The center could be rented by the community, Indigenous, and public interest groups for use outside of school areas, therefore producing revenue. We could investigate grants and/or partnerships that could assist in sustaining the center and fully utilizing the capacity there. And we are calling on our community to speak up for the Sheldon Center for Outdoor Education. So why are we doing this? My family's lived in this community for over 40 years. We live on a hill, and our property joins Sheldon at the back. We've seen and heard the adventures of the kids at the Sheldon Center. We hear the dinner bell ring. We hear the shouts of joy as the kids are running around the maze in the evenings. We see their adventures along the trails and their bridges across the river. We share ski trails, hiking trails, and biking trails. We read the interpretive signage that the children use to learn about trees, plants, and Indigenous culture. The community has been welcome to walk the property, and we enjoy a good rapport with the supervisory staff. We've taken part in the community Christmas dinner that's put on every year, and my grown daughters say it is still one of their favorite memories. Oops. The animals at the Sheldon farm come from local farms. Maple syrup and beekeeping are shared in the community. Food and supplies also come from our local stores, and a local farmer takes the hay from the meadow for his cattle. The Sheldon Center has a history of over 50 years in this community. It has served as a place where children learn about nature and feed their need for exposure to the natural environment. The impact is significant, and the experience is a lasting one. For us, the people living in this community, being in nature is taken for granted, and it's not for our own children that we are here. The vast majority of Toronto School Board children rarely, if ever, have an opportunity to explore a forest, let alone leave the city. Imagine never seeing the total darkness of a starry night or the complete silence of a rural evening. We're all used to this. These are profound Sheldon experiences that children never forget. So how many of you local folks breathe a sigh of relief when you come home out of the city at night? We all need time in nature for our mental health, so how can we let this be taken away from these students? Research shows learning improvement in children who spend time outdoors, in the forest, and in open air. Environmental education nurtures a sense of belonging, environmental stewardship, and a deeper understanding of our place in the world. There are numerous proven health benefits beyond the increased physical activity. Sharper focus and cognitive health, improved memory and concentration, which is particularly beneficial for kids with ADHD. Increased creativity, it uses all 5 senses, listening to birds, smelling pine needles, touching the bark, watching the light through the trees, tasting maple syrup. And stress reduction, which can alleviate depression. Recently, despite these known learning benefits, citing budgetary cost savings, Rohit Gupta, the supervisor appointed by the province to oversee the TDSB, announced even further cuts to now include a closure of 8 outdoor centers while cutting many teachers that are specially trained in outdoor education. These cuts will not benefit children, and their impact will be felt for decades here and also in some of our neighboring communities beyond the GTA. As neighbors, business owners, and especially parents, we urge you to stand up for this valuable community and educational asset and for all the people who benefit from it being there. The Friends of Sheldon have repeatedly requested meetings with our MPP Brian Saunderson, the TDSB Supervisor Rohit Gupta, and the Minister of Education. So far, they've not been available to us, and now the legislature is adjourned for the summer. But we're not giving up. We're offering to help the province and the TDSB to come up with solutions and/or partnerships in order to keep the Sheldon Centre in operations. And we are requesting that our council support Friends of Sheldon in doing this by passing a motion of support and forwarding this motion to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier, the Honourable Paul Calandra, Minister of Education, Brian Saunderson, Sylvia Jones, Mike Schreiner, Leader of the Green Party, John Fraser, Interim Leader of the Ontario Liberal Party, Merritt Stiles, Leader of the Ontario New Democrats, the Simcoe County Board District School Board, the Upper Grand District School Board, the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, the Town of Mono, the City of Toronto, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. As an aside, there is a petition circulating right now on change.org that it's to stop the closing of the Toronto Outdoor Education Centres. As of today, it had 9,140 signatures. So I have given a copy of this also to our clerk. And I want to thank you for your attention to this important matter. And please feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll do my best to respond. Thank you.
Thank you for that deputation. I do have a couple questions myself. Just the first question is, do you know when the last time the outdoor center was used by the?
Yes, it was used
board?
during the maple syrup processing this year in March. Yeah.
This year.
Yes, this year, but most of the year there were no classes there, but they had a special group coming in to do the maple syrup. But most of this semester has not had any students.
Okay. And then the second question is just make sure that you're aware of it. So I received by email maybe a week ago, maybe 2, from the NVCA, Nottawasaga Conservation Authority, to indicate that they've sent a letter to the Toronto District School Board, copied to myself, and I believe they were going to reach out to you as well, that they were inquiring as to what the school board was going to do with the property, and that the Conservation Authority would be interested in having discussions if that was their desire. So you're aware of that?
I am aware of that, and I'm hoping that by council supporting this as well, and the Conservation Authority, of course, would be one of the groups that we would have discussions with as we move forward.
For sure.
We have also gotten in contact with some of the other groups that are doing the similar work.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And I would add, there's a bit of a caveat to that, because at the moment, the conservation authorities are going through amalgamation, and they have strict orders that they cannot purchase property at this time.
Right.
And that could only be approved by the province. So they would have to actually approve that purchase if that was the case,
Yes.
or to even entertain that purchase. But so just wanted to put that out there, that there are some caveats to that process during this amalgamation time with the conservation authorities. Okay, other questions, comments, Councillor Simpson?
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you, Roseanne, and Darlene as well, and to the Friends of Sheldon for your advocacy and support for the Sheldon Outdoor Education Center. It's nice to see our residents who are passionate about facilities in our town that make a real difference for our community and for future generations. I remember going to an outdoor center, kind of like Sheldon, might have been Sheldon, where I learned how maple syrup was made. At another one, I learned how to make fire. So the memories that you get from these places, they last a lifetime, and they are a very important part of the curriculum, should be preserved and should be allowed to be utilized by the community as well. And I'm happy to move forward a motion to support what you're doing. I do want to note that I sit on the TRCA, and at the TRCA we have, there are certain properties that we are in the process of acquiring, that the TRCA is in the process of acquiring, and special accommodation is being made for that. And I'm sure that if the NVCA were to get involved, and I've had conversations with the NVCA as well, with their CAO and other members, and if they're able to move forward as well, then that might be a partnership that might help to save the facility, right? So I'm pleased to do that, and I have forwarded a copy of the motion to our clerk.
Thank you. Other comments or questions from council? Councilor O'Leary?
I would just like to say that you made an excellent presentation. You made a lot of people aware of what the circumstances are and what's required for our children for now and in the future, and I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Laux?
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. Just a quick question. So, just so I understand it better, who owns the property at this point,
It's owned by the Toronto District School Board.
And the goal is for somebody else to take over ownership so that you could continue on?
Not
Ideally,
necessarily. The goal is to keep offering environmental programs for children. If the Toronto School Board, if we can figure out a way for them to continue doing that, that's great. If not, we will try and help them find another way to do it.
Right, so
But our
the
goal
sale or
is to
purchase
help
of the property really doesn't have an effect on it, ideally?
Not necessarily. What we want to do is maintain the programming at the school, because there's
no.
20,000
Yeah.
kids a year who go to these schools, and
Yeah.
if they don't get that, they don't get any environment and the outdoor education.
Correct. Oh, okay, thank you.
Councilor Borzos?
Thank you, through the chair. I also would like to thank you for it. An eye-opener for me, because I've been here for a while in the township, and sorry, I will be man enough to admit that I didn't know Sheldon was even there. So thank you for that, and just wanted to offer my support, and I will second Councillor Simpson's motion, pushing this forward. Thank you.
Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, I don't think you'll find anybody that wouldn't support this motion to assist in keeping activities like this going for our children. I live near there. I've been, it's also used for training for our fire department. A lot of people probably didn't realize that either. So it's always been an open house for everybody in the community, and to learn. I fully support this. I wish I was at the meeting. I'm sorry I had a doctor's appointment. I talked to you on that. So, but I fully support it, and yeah, I don't know what else to do, because there's not much we really can do as a municipality, because it's the Toronto District School Board. They have title to the land. Whether they keep the land or what they do, maybe they should sell some of their artwork and get these programs running, like that. That's the way I look at it. I'm tired of them with all these investments and not schooling the children. You know, like you hear about all these junkets with them going off and buying paintings and this, that, and the other. Well, that money should be going to our kids. If they're closing programs like this down, it's detrimental to our what we're paying as tax dollars for our kids. And yeah, no, I'll fully support this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. No other comments? Councillor Simpson, if you have the motion, I'll have Madam Clerk put the motion up on screen so we can follow along, and just bear with us a moment. All right, Councillor Simpson. Yes, please.
Thank you. Okay. Whereas outdoor education centers provide important educational, environmental, recreational, and community benefits to students, families, educators, and the broader public. And whereas outdoor education programming for students promotes environmental stewardship, physical activity, experiential learning, leadership development, and mental well-being. And whereas the Sheldon Centre for Outdoor Education is owned by the Toronto District School Board and the TDSB is no longer taking bookings at the facility this year due to funding shortfalls which are needed for renovations and repairs at the center. And whereas the continued operation or enhancement of the Sheldon Centre for Outdoor Education requires stable and sufficient financial support, and whereas it is in the public interest to support access to outdoor education opportunities for present and future generations, and the Sheldon Centre for Outdoor Education is a valuable community and educational asset. Therefore, be it resolved that Council for the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio supports the Friends of Sheldon in its efforts to obtain monetary support for the operations, programming, capital needs, and long-term sustainability of the Sheldon Centre for Outdoor Education. And further that, Council respectfully requests the Province of Ontario and the Ontario District School Board to sustain funding to continue operations at Sheldon Centre for Outdoor Education and to explore additional methods of monetizing the facilities to ensure that outdoor education for students can be preserved for the future. And further that, Council urges other potential funding partners, including other school boards and conservation authorities, to consider providing financial support to Sheldon Centre for Outdoor Education. And further that, a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier, Honourable Sylvia Jones, Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, Honourable Paul Calandra, Minister of Education, Brian Saunderson, MPP Simcoe Grey, City of Toronto, Town of Mono, Rohit Gupta, TDSB Supervisor, Toronto District School Board, Toronto Catholic District School Board, Simcoe County School Board, Simcoe Muskoka Catholic District School Board, Upper Grand District School Board, Dufferin Peel Catholic School Board, Peel District School Board, the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, and to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario.
Thank you. And that was seconded by Councillor Borzos. Are there any questions on that resolution? Councillor Middles?
Yeah, I think where it states financial support, it should be provincial financial support. I don't know, like for monetary stuff and that, it should be the province that funds this. So I'm just wondering if we could amend that to, there were several areas in there where it says financial support, and it almost looks like we're going to give them financial support, so.
Councillor Simpson?
Yeah, Councillor Meadows, would you be able to point which wording?
If I could have it up again. Do you have a copy there?
I do.
Sure, we'll get it up on screen.
You should have one in your email.
Well, I don't have my email. I don't have my.
I have a printed copy.
Oh, can I have it?
That's
Okay.
fine. We've got it up on screen. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm better with a paper copy. Thank you.
Is that the same resolution?
Yep.
I'm trying to get at.
It's the same except for the last, with the list of the
list has been amended.
list of
Yeah.
who to mail to.
Councillor Meadows, when you find the spot.
Yeah, well, I'm just reading it again, so. It was down here, council urges the potential funding partners, including other school boards. Yeah, right down here I am. Further that council urges the potential funding partners, including other school boards and conservation authorities, to consider providing financial support to Sheldon Creek Outdoor Center. So you're asking for other authorities to,
Other authority,
oh, okay.
If we're able to make some arrangements, by using the
Request the province of
center
Ontario
alternately.
Could be a multi-use.
Council and
Correct.
supports
Correct.
Friends of Sheldon. Well, and also therefore be it resolved that the Council for the Township of Adjala supports Friends of Sheldon in its efforts to obtain monetary support for the operations. So it almost puts you in your organizations, you're going to be looking for monetary support for.
Yes, that's
Okay.
our intention, is that we offered to help the TDSB to find alternate sources of funding or other types of programming, grants, et cetera.
So, yeah.
We're not asking the
Yeah.
township for money.
So, Councillor Meadows, you're like, it might be too much in that you're saying, or is that like, it's committing other people to stuff that we're not,
Well, the
we're
thing
not able
is,
to do?
For me, the provincial government should be the one funding this program. And, they got rid of all the school boards. So it's like, like they should be supporting it financially. And I just think that should be put in there, that they should be funding these kind of programs, not just for Sheldon Creek, but for all that they've taken away. Like they're just kiboshing everything with the outdoor education. So,
Let's stay there, right up there, it says, council respectfully requests the province of Ontario and the TSD
yeah.
to sustain funding.
Okay. Are there any,
Okay,
any further questions with regards?
I retract what I said and just leave it then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments with regards to the resolution? All right, so I moved by Councillor Simpson, seconded by Councillor Borzos. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boy, it even comes to this, I don't know.
All right, so that takes us on to item 10, which is public meetings, which we have none this evening, so that's something new for us in the last while. Number 11 is public comment. Members of the public may request their comments to be read by the clerk or present their comments orally. Only public comments related to an item on the agenda listed as staff reports, correspondence, or bylaws will be read. Members of the public wishing to submit public comments can do so in writing to our clerk, no later than 12 noon on the day of the meeting. And is there anyone in attendance who would like to provide their comments? And if so, please raise your hand, and once called upon, proceed to the podium. Are there any persons wishing to speak to any items on staff reports, correspondence, or bylaws? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, did we receive any comments in writing?
We did not receive any written comments for this meeting.
Thank you. All right, so that takes us on to item 12, which is upcoming events and announcements. Before I have a list of items here that I would want to address, but first of all, I just want to acknowledge that earlier today at 10 a.m. actually, I had the privilege of attending the tour of the Simcoe Manor, the renovation that's ongoing, or renovation is actual whole new rebuild of Simcoe Manor in Beaton. The County of Simcoe graciously put that on for members of council, and I want to say what a splendor it is so far, and it's. I'm hopeful that we might be able to get all of council there actually to tour, because once it gets a bit bit more, we'll see some of the finishing projects or the product, and I'll tell you, it's something. So it's great to see in a community. There's affordable housing, there's long-term care, there's rental units, and it's quite marvelous to see. So I do want to commend the County Simcoe and appreciate for them to be on that tour today. The next items I have are the National Public Indigenous History Month. So June is National Indigenous History Month in Canada, and it is a time to honor the stories, achievements, and resilience of Indigenous peoples who have lived on this land since time immemorial and whose presence continue to impact the evolving Canada. On the same theme, on June 21st is National Indigenous Peoples Day. It's a time to recognize and celebrate traditions, cultures, and contributions of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Here on June 17th at Wardens Park, the Nottawasaga OPP are hosting a law enforcement torch run for the Special Olympics. And I invite the public to come out to that event. The month of June also marks Pride season, which takes place from June to September, and it's an opportunity to come together to highlight the resilience, celebrate the talent, and recognize the contributions of 2SLGBTQI plus communities. And I also want to acknowledge that the third annual Pride Fest is taking place on June 20th in Alliston on Paris Street. I've been to the last two, and they get quite the crowd out. They do get a bit of rain that weekend, every weekend, so hopefully they don't get it this week or that week, but for anyone who can join, it's a great opportunity to celebrate. And then lastly, Canada Day. We have our traditional Canada Day ceremony here on July 1st. Opening ceremonies will take place in the public room here in the Municipal Centre at 10 a.m., and that includes a musical concert and cake and refreshments, so please join us then. And then the evening event begins at 7 p.m. at Wardens Park. Again, get here early. We have about 1,600 people that attend annually. And the fireworks show does begin around at dusk, which is around 10 p.m. here at the office. And just as a reminder to bring your own chair, no other fireworks or sparklers are allowed on site, and there's no parking on 30 Side Road if you are coming, or County Road 50, matter if you are coming this way. Council, are there any other upcoming events or announcements from you? I have Councillor Cox and then Councillor Meadows.
Yeah, through the chair, June also has Father's Day in there. So all the fathers in our community, hopefully have a good Father's Day. And June also brings the first day of summer. So we wait a long time for that one. All right. So enjoy a healthy, safe summer.
Thank you. Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, and in Hockley on the weekend, there is a pancake supper at the church there. It's a fundraiser for the church in the community center.
Breakfast.
8
a.m. on Saturday morning.
8 a.m. Is it Saturday? I thought it was Sunday.
Tom?
Saturday?
There we go. Saturday confirmed.
Oh, thank you. I've been real bad on my See, I'm real bad on my dates. Yeah, it's because of my age. I now just, as of yesterday, I turned 65, so I'm a retiree now. So, so thank you.
Well, happy birthday, Bob. Are there any other announcements from council? All right, and seeing none, I'll go to the CIO for an administrative update.
Thank you, Worship. Just a couple of announcements. Staff have developed a dedicated webpage or dedicated web pages for each of the planning applications. They can be found under the Business and Development on the Land Use and Planning webpage within the Planning Application section. So this will be up tomorrow. Each page, there's a Farsight R&M and a Farsight Barzo. It includes detailed timelines outlining the current stage of the process, along with information on agreements, OLT decisions, and all submitted materials dating back to the original in August of 2004. Both web pages provide clear, factual, and transparent information and will be updated as we continue through the project process. In addition, staff will also launch a dedicated web page regarding the Everett Wastewater Treatment Plant Grant Project. The web page will provide information on site control, security, key project components, and frequently asked questions sections. Staff will also include a detailed project timeline, including key milestones and dates. The website will be featured under the municipal government section of the website, and there's more signs and announcements to come on that particular exciting project. Also want to note that we are expecting the pickleball courts to be up and running in mid-July, so there'll be more discussion and show signs and announcements about that within the next month or so. So more exciting news to come. That's it for the CAO update at this time.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. And I just also want to just acknowledge as well to Public Works that we've had 3 sections of roads already paved early this year. So I do commend staff for getting on that going. And it's great to see some of our budget projects pretty well. A lot of them are almost done. So it's good to see. Yeah. All right. If there's no other comments, okay, we're on to item 13, which is the consent agenda. Are there any items that we wish to pull tonight for consent? Councillor Meadows?
I'd like to see 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, and 13.8.
Thank you. Others? Okay, seeing none. All right, so that takes us on to then item 14 for the staff reports, and we'll come back to those others. Sorry, I always forget that motion, you know. I never put that in there. We should put that in a different spot. All right, so that, let's see here. So that consent agenda recommendations from item 13.4 to 13.7 and 13.9 to 13.10 be adopted and as presented, and that staff be authorized to take all necessary actions. And a mover for that, I have Councillor Cox, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laux. And all in favor for that, and that is carried. All right, so on the staff reports, 14.1, staff report I&D 2026-13, site alteration and fill application for 2075 Concession Road 4 in Adjala. Mr. Darlow, I believe it's your report.
Thank you, Your Worship. This staff report is for a site alteration fill permit for 2075 Concession Road 4. The contractor reached out to staff there about a month ago for a permit for up to 400 loads, anticipated a little less than that, of topsoil to grade around the existing agricultural building and reduce the slope, to reduce the slope basically from the foundation back to the existing slope of the property. The haul route will be from Highway 50 to Side Road 10 and then approximately 700 meters south on Concession Road 4. The contractor has worked with the township on a few other fill applications and works in the past, specifically some topsoil that was removed from the Honda plant during a previous construction. And they've completed much larger fill permit applications and executions to the satisfaction of the township.
Okay, thank you. Any questions to Mr. Darlow on this? Okay, just before I go to Councillor Meadows, Mr. Darlow just wanted to confirm that we are taking securities for this project and that we've monitored the road now and will monitor the road after completion.
Yeah, through Your Worship there, that's correct. We've already done a pre-site visit to confirm the most appropriate haul route, and we've taken into consideration the current condition of the roadway, and there will be a post review once the work is actually completed, and if there is found to be any issues there, then the township has the right to remove some securities that we'd be asking for prior to them commencing the work.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Meadows?
Yes. How many acres is this particular property?
Mr. Darlow?
Through your worship, I don't have that in front of me right now. I would have to get back to you. I can certainly check and get back to you on the exact acreage.
Okay, supplemental.
Yes, sir.
And this is all topsoil that's being brought in, is that correct?
Through your worship, yes, that's correct. It's been indicated that it's all topsoil that's to be brought in.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, there is a recommendation that staff report IND 2026-13 dated June 10, 2026 regarding site alteration and fill application for 2075 Concession Road 4 Adjala be received, and that in accordance with the site alteration and fill bylaw, staff be authorized to issue a fill permit to the applicant of 2075 Concession Road 4 following payment of securities for the potential cost to repave Concession Road 4 from Tennant Road to the fill site, the application, and any costs incurred by the township in administering the application. Do you have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Cox, a seconder, please. Councillor Nuttles. All those in favor? And that is carried. We're on to item 14.2, which is staff report Finance 2026-8, 2026 Development Charges Bylaw. Mr. Andrzejczyk.
Thank you, Your Worship. We're bringing forward the Development Charge Bylaw Report. This is the final step in our review of the Development Charge background study to update our DC rates. We hired Hempson to guide us through the development charge background process, which is required under the Act before passing of this DC bylaw, which will be on the agenda for council approval. We've gone through a very thorough process in the review of our development charges. We've held 2 council information sessions, one statutory public meeting, as well as an additional secondary public meeting. And we are before you today for final approval and passage of our development charge bylaw, which is the final step. I would like to add some recent changes or things that have occurred through the process. The township did receive some comments and questions from the KR Planning Group, which represents the Everett Landowners Group, very recently on June the 1st. Staff are working with Hempson on responses, and based on our initial review, there are no changes required to the DC background or the projects or the rates. As well as I'd like to add, for your information, there was the recent announcement with this development charge reduction program. This $8.8 billion program has a deadline of June 19th. Some highlights of the program. Municipalities would be required to reduce their DC rates between 30 and 50% for a 3-year period. The program only covers 90% of eligible costs. Under this program, if a municipality applied, they would be required to fund 10% of the eligible infrastructure costs. Only projects identified in the DC background study would be eligible. And if there is any projects in the DC study that have an existing benefit to an existing benefit to current residents, it would not be eligible. So as an example, the fire hall, it has a 50%, it's only 50% DC eligible for funding. So 50% we would have to pay. And in addition, we would be on the hook for another 10% of the DC fundable portion of the project. Again, in some highlights in this, this program being offered through the province, any cost overruns would be the responsibility of a municipality. This program preferences projects that are housing enabling projects such as water, wastewater, stormwater, roads, and transit. I would like to add, though, we are in a very favorable position. We've already received over $65 million in funding toward the infrastructure works in Everett to support that development. So really, this program really wouldn't benefit our municipality. This is something that would be for a larger municipality or a municipality that had large infrastructure needs in order to promote development. Our development is already occurring, and we've received more funding in Simcoe County than any other municipality this year. I guess furthermore, with the approval of the bylaw, I would just like to add or just highlight that the bylaw would come in effect today with your approval of it. Indexing of the DCs based on the act would occur every January 1st, and with the passage of the bylaw, we would be providing written notice of its passing, and there would be an appeal period of 40 days with this bylaw.
Thank you. Are there any questions through Mr. Anuchuk on this report? Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, I sit here bewildered at this again. Building homes faster, yet the builder's asking for a 7-year extension, and we gave him a 4-year extension. We also are getting a $65 million grant. Is that correct? Yet the taxpayers are on the hook for $27 million. We haven't got the funding yet for the other $27 million or any overages with regards to this, because we don't have any contract yet with the developer. Correct?
The township is working with an agreement,
Yeah, we're working with an agreement, but we don't have an agreement.
not as yet.
So if we as a municipality have to take out a $27 million loan, where are we going to get that money from if we go into needing that money?
Well, through the chair, my understanding is that through the agreement and with the 65 million that we have secured in funding, the full intention is to have the developer pay the remaining cost. And if that didn't happen, then
Developer says he's not paying for the extra costs. The last time I spoke with him, anyway. So I don't know what, he's having I don't know where this 27 million is coming from. Well, I was speaking with him when he was here. When he came over here, I asked him. I said, "So what's going on with the 27? Like, is the developers putting in $27 million to this?" And he didn't know anything about it. So I don't know who's in conversations with who with regards to the developers on this. So I don't know where this $27 million is going to come from. I mean, if the developer is going to pay for it, great. I have no problems with it. But if we as taxpayers are going to be on the hook for $27 million, everybody in this room is going to be upset. Because why are we paying for development? Development's supposed to pay for development. And these development charges, he got his 4-year extension, so the DRIA is no good. That by the time we go back to the drawing board on this, all these studies are going to have to be done again because we're going for another 7 years. I was told when I asked for the extension for the MSP to redo the MSP, oh, there's not enough time. We don't have time. We got to do this now, or we're going to be sued, or whatever. The reports aren't there. He wants 7 more years now to put this development forward. So we're going to be on the hook for that $27 million. We'll have all the infrastructure in the ground, and we'll have all this stuff going on. So I can't support this. I won't support this. I won't support it at all. Not until I get more answers on where this money's coming from. And I don't know how anybody at this table can do the same thing. I really don't. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Councillor Meadows, I'm just wanting to go back to your comment then. Are you suggesting that we put the capital project of the wastewater treatment plant in our DC bylaw and put $27 million towards the development? Is that what you're suggesting? Like, I'm trying to understand where that's fitting in with the development charge background study. Like, we could add the project to the background study and have the developer fund $27 million through our development charges, if that's what you're suggesting, but I haven't heard that, so.
Well, let me, your worship, you asked a question. We never asked for a penny from the Colgan development for any of the infrastructure, so why doesn't he just go ahead and we build everything with development charges with regards to the development?
What the Colgan developer did, they built an entire wastewater treatment plant at their cost.
They did, and that was great. So why isn't this going through at their full costs? Why are we using grant money plus $27 million and any overages out of the taxpayers' dollars to put this development forward? It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It's the same process.
Whether
the
it's-
money is coming from the province.
Well,
to
no,
fund-
$65 million is still coming from the taxpayers because the taxpayers are paying the provincial government. The government's paying us to pay the developer.
I agree. So are you suggesting, though, that we return the $65 million and ask the developer to pay
The whole bit, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay. Sorry. So can I ask you another question? You attended with myself and Deputy Mayor Locks and Councillor Simpson to an AMO conference, went into a meeting with a delegation with a deputy minister and asked him to support $65 million to give to municipalities so that we could support this project. And so I'm just wondering what's changed from last August to now to change about the reason why at that time you were supportive of council obtaining $65 million and now you're not supportive of council obtaining $65 million. Because, and again, I want to just get back to the DC bylaw. If you're not supportive of the DC bylaw, that's fine. Everyone has their right to not vote for it. But if you're asking us to look at an amendment to the DC bylaw, then that needs to be discussed here tonight as well so that we can understand that concern. So that's why I'm trying to get
Can I answer the question?
Certainly.
Okay. So at that time, yeah, I thought getting $65 million for a wastewater treatment plant would be great because that's all I thought that we would need to put in for this wastewater treatment plant. I thought, I've got the floor. Let me finish. Thank you. So we did not know at the time the stipulations that were given, because it was given to us as a contract later on, that we got the $65 million. I did not, at the time, I sat in there. I sat in at the meeting because we were down at the AMO conference. At that time, I had none of the documents in front of me, other than when we got there, on what was going to be produced. I had no idea we were going to be paying 27 cents on the dollar. That's going to be coming out of the taxpayers' dough because we had no idea where this money was coming from. So there was a lot of things that were in play. I thought it would be beneficial to have money from the province, but I didn't know that we had to pay the 27 cents on the dollar plus any overages for the development. And to me, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. And it's wrong for us to ask for the taxpayers to pay all that money. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Just looking for clarification. Thank you. So I have Deputy Mayor Locks, Councillor Cox, Councillor Simpson. You put your hand up. You did. Councillor Cox?
Yeah, through the chair, I really think the discussion that's being had here is going a little bit off topic, and we're getting into the weeds of an actual physical development rather than the charges within the bylaw, which is outlined in front of us. And I'd really appreciate if everybody stayed on topic in that specific. We're not talking about one development, or we're talking about a development charges bylaw. So going back and forth, the who talked developer, who got the money from the province, but this is all not related to this. So next time, I'm just going to probably put a point of order and call the question, because that's getting way offside. With all due respect.
Councillor Simpson?
Thank you, through the chair. Councillor Meadows has raised a point that perhaps, and I don't know, perhaps you can clarify as well. My understanding is that you'd like to see the 27 million be included in the development charges? And I know... I said that earlier. Okay, so it's your understanding then that the $27 million or any overages are not going to be collected from the developer. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Despite all the conversations and meetings that this council has had where council has been informed of negotiations, your position is that we are not going to collect an amount from the developer. Is that correct?
I haven't been in any negotiations with...
You have not, and neither has council. However, council is aware that negotiations are ongoing. Are you not?
No, I have no idea. I haven't seen a development agreement. I've asked for it to
Correct, because a development agreement has not been finalized.
Getting off the topic here, Mr. Simpson. You wanna grandstand, that's fine.
No.
This is development charges background study that we're talking about, so let's talk about the development charge background study.
Thank you for clarifying your understanding on this, Mr. Meadows. So I'm going to
Gentlemen,
note,
let's be civil, please.
for the record, I was at that meeting. I was at two AMOs together with Deputy Mayor Locks at the first one for the $35 million, and the four of us, Deputy Mayor Locks, Mayor Anderson, and yourself, Mr. Meadows. And at all these meetings, we were looking to get funding from the province for this facility that we are now in the process of getting built. And the numbers were not speculative. We had an idea of what those numbers were. The applications were very specific for what we were asking for. So just for the record. Now, with regard to the development charges, and I do want to note for the record, previous development charges for fire protection was about $2,800. That was the development charge that we put forward from 5 years ago. Since then, we have done a fire master plan. That number is now 11,000 as a result of the master plan for fire that we did. Parks and Recreation in the previous development charge was $1,800 or thereabouts. We, as council, undertook a master plan for Parks and Recreation. That development charge for that is now about $3,400 or so. The development charge for services related to a highway is $7,326. This council asked and requested that a master plan be completed for transportation, that a transportation master plan be undertaken. That did not happen. The development charge that we are now at for transportation is $6,845. It's a difference of $481. So we've gone down on transportation, the funding, because we have not done a transportation master plan. That is a very important thing. I know I had the support of council in the past. It's something I've been pushing since I got on this council. We didn't do it. We should have done it. It should have been done, and it would have presented a higher development charge rate for our municipality. While I'm disappointed that that part didn't happen, we are still making progress. So we are more than doubling, or not doubling, just under doubling the development charge rate. So we are making progress. To be honest, I would have liked to see more progress in terms of a development charge rate that is more robust. I know that in some municipalities and the province and the federal government have said that development charges in places are too high. They're not talking about us. They are talking about municipalities like Vaughan. They are talking about municipalities like Mississauga. They are talking about municipalities like Brampton. They're talking about municipalities like Toronto, all four of which have joined that plan that the province and the federal government are putting forward. That plan and those programs are meant for the larger municipalities that have robust development charges rates, that have numbers that they can justify and put forward. And they've done a great job at it, and they recognize that their development charges are high. They are not talking about municipalities like Adjala-Tosorontio. Our neighbors all have higher development charges rates. All of them. North, south, east, west. Every one of them has a higher rate. So I think we can get to a more robust rate. I will support this, but I do note that I am disappointed that we weren't able to do the transportation master plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments on the report? Okay, seeing none, the recommendation for the staff report is that staff report 2026-8 dated June 10, 2026 regarding the 2026 development charges bylaw be received, and that the development charge background study included as attachment 1 be approved, and that council consider adopting a bylaw for the imposition of development charges, and that council will express its intent that growth-related costs identified in the 2026 development charges background study as post-period benefit shall be paid for subsequently by development charges or other similar charges. And that council state that it has given notice in accordance with Section 12 of the Development Charges Act 1997 of its intention to pass a bylaw under Section 2 of the Act. And that council intends to ensure that the increase in the need for services attributable to the anticipated development, including any capital costs, will be met by updating its capital budget and forecast where appropriate. And that council approve the asset management plan contained within the development charges background study. And that council state that it's held a public meeting to consider the enactment of the development charges bylaw in accordance with Section 12 of the Development Charges Act 1997. And that council state that it has heard all persons who applied to be heard and received written submissions, whether in objection to or in support of the development charges proposed at the public meeting. And that council has determined that no further public meetings are required under Section 12(3) of the Development Charges Act 1997. And do I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Cox. Seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Laux.
Can I have a recorded vote, please?
Were there any further questions with regards to the report? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, a request for a recorded vote by Councillor Meadows.
Thank you. Councillor Meadows, in favor or against?
Against.
Councillor Borzos, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor Cox, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor O'Leary, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor Simpson, in favor or against?
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Laux, in favor or against?
In favor.
And Mayor Anderson, in favor or against?
In favor?
That's 6 in favor, 1 against.
Thank you. The motion carries 6-1. We're on item 14.3, which is staff report HR 2026-2, corporate occupational health and safety policy review. Ms. McGinty?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. This report regarding the corporate occupational health and safety policy asks council to formally adopt a corporate-wide policy to ensure full compliance with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. The policy clarifies roles and responsibilities by separating council's governance and oversight role from the CAO's operational responsibilities. The policy has been modernized to reflect all worker groups, including paid on-call firefighters, election workers, council and committee members, contractors, and certain citizen volunteers. In closing, this policy brings the township into full compliance, strengthens our corporate due diligence, and reinforces our commitment to a safe and healthy workplace. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions through to staff? Councillor Cox?
Yeah, through the chair to whoever may have the answer. Who is responsible for coordinating or administering the training?
Ms. McGinty?
The oversight of that, through your worship, the oversight of that would be the CAO down through the managers and the supervisors.
Because I didn't see in the roles and responsibilities that they would coordinate the training. It said that they would ensure that they met compliance, but there wasn't any in roles and responsibilities that somebody would actually be, like under a managerial position. I would assume that a role and responsibility would to ensure that they organize or ensure they are trained, like the line up the training, get a facilitator in. It's only a question. It's a small detail. I'm sure it happens anyways, but just thought it's one thing I observed.
Yep. So through your worship, for clarification, the job specific or department specific would be with the manager of the department, and then anything corporate wide, let's say like WMIS, that would be with myself to coordinate.
So through the chair, should it be outlined in the roles and responsibility through like HR coordinates this specific like corporate training, in the manager's responsibilities coordinates workers training?
For clarification through your worship, so with like a WMIS corporate policy, the roles and responsibilities would be listed out under there.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm just like I say, I didn't know if that should be actually put in all like let's say managerial positions. From like I'm sure the fire chief coordinates the training for the firefighters. I'm sure the public works director coordinates the training for anything for, like, let's say confined spaces, working at heights, so on and so forth, like actually role specific training. I don't know if it should be outlined that is their role if we're developing a policy and it has roles and responsibilities. I think it should be captured within there that managers have a role and a responsibility to coordinate the training for their staff.
And through your worship, we do have that clarified too within the job descriptions.
Okay, I'll go to the CEO for further comment.
Through your worship, yes, I was just about to say that is within the job descriptions of every manager, and then the overall is in the job description of the HR coordinator. However, it is also under the Occupational Health and Safety Act that each supervisor, so not just a manager, but as somebody supervising any staff, there's details laid out in that Occupational Health and Safety, which is also within their job description. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you. Councillor Meadows, I saw your hand.
Yeah, I just have a quick question on page 260 of 299, or I guess it's page 12 of 13 of your report. And that is a member of council as a supervisor. It says council members must consider their health and safety responsibilities as supervisors where they have authority over a worker or charge of a workplace. For example, a mayor or a councillor who supervises or directs the work of support staff. If a member of council is a supervisor as defined in section 1.1 of the OHSA, he or she has duties, including to inform workers about hazards and dangers and respond to their concerns, show workers how to work safely and make sure they follow the law and workplace and health and safety policies and procedures, make sure workers wear and use appropriate protective equipment, and do everything reasonable in the circumstance to protect workers from being hurt or getting work-related illnesses. Section 27 OHSA. I'm just curious because under the Municipal Act, councillors are not allowed to direct personnel. So how does that, it's kind of a bit of a contradiction there, so. I realize it's from the province, but I'm just saying, I'd like a little bit of clarification on that because it doesn't make any sense. If it's from the province, they're telling us to break the our own policies and code of conduct, and we could get into trouble through the integrity commissioner with that, which I have no inkling to go through again. So
Councillor Meadows, I'll go to the CAO, but my understanding is because we are the governing body, we are the supervisor, and so we have to put this policy in place so that we all have our obligations covered by that. So I'll go to the CAO for clarification.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. The CAO is the staff of council. And if there are certain municipalities that have a chief of staff, that have a particular admin assistant, as an example, that is under the direction of mayor or members of council, that's where this clause may come in. So then there is a direct relationship of a supervisor and a worker. So again, it is always a CAO or city manager as an example. And then in certain circumstances where there is a direct report relationship with regard to staff, where the supervisor responsibility on site is with the supervisor of the person. So I hope that clarifies. Again, it is noted that this is a provincial document that was pointed out from PSHAS, Public Services Health and Safety Association.
Supplemental.
Sure, but I just also wanted to clarify as well that in any of these cases, and I'll look to Madam Clerk if she would like to clarify as well, but in any of these cases, there'd be a delegation bylaw from council appointing a certain member of council, whether it be mayor or council, in certain circumstances. So they have the authority to do this. Mm-hmm. So there is a direct correlation between council member and an employee. But that's the way I read it. But further comments, Councillor Meadows?
Yes. So you're talking like through to the CAO. You're talking like the mayoral position in Toronto, where she would have staff working under her to facilitate her job, and also some of the councillors, I believe, have staff that they respond to. Is that correct?
CAO?
Through Your Worship, yes, that is correct, because then that is seen as an authority giving direction directly to that particular person or that particular staff member. So then they would become they become the supervisor of that position. So that is exactly the examples that I would use, Councillor.
So with the new mayoral powers that were given to the head of all councils, would they not have the same function? Like all our staff would follow, most of our staff would follow under that purview? Like he would be able to direct you or whatever?
CAO?
Through Your Worship, I may turn to the clerk. However, again, there is no change with regard to the reporting structure, with regard to the strong mayor powers. It is, again, still the CAO that is the employee of council, and then the CAO has the employees of the rest of the administration And in this particular case that we have here at Adjala-Tosorontio, there is no other specific position that reports directly to the mayor or directly to a member of council. So that's how it sits right now with regard to that. So is my understanding that because of the structure, there is no change in what a supervisor equates to. And right at this moment, even with regard to strong mayor powers, that doesn't change for us.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know. I thought that to protect the mayor, we may need to change our code of conduct to, if he needs to facilitate something through his mayoral powers, he's directing staff. So in conjunction with that, then he may be breaking our code of conduct in doing so. So that's just clarification for myself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions? All right, seeing none, that the recommendation is a staff report HR 2026-2 dated June 10, 2026 regarding corporate occupational health and safety policy review be received, and that council approves corporate-wide occupational health and safety policy attachment 1, and that council confirms the delegation of the operational development, implementation, and maintenance of all associated health and safety programs, procedures, and training frameworks to the CAO, more specifically the Chief Administrative Officer, in alignment with current municipal governance structures. Councillor Cox moved. Seconder, please. Councillor Borzos. All those in favor? And that is carried. We're on to item 14.4, Staff Report PLA 2026-8, 32 Fisher Drive Reserve Transfer. And here it is, Greg. Mr. Merrick.
Thank you, Your Worship. So Staff Report PLA 2026-008 is in regards to property located at 32 Fisher Drive in the settlement area of Everett. The purpose of this report is to seek council approval to assume lands described as Part 4 on Plan 51R-45292 be an existing 0.3 meter reserve into the township's public road system by bylaw, thereby providing legal frontage and access for a new 0.3 hectare residential lot to be severed from 32 Fisher Drive, which is a conditional of approval for consent application B-13-2025, which was approved by the Committee of Adjustment on December 17th, 2025.
Thank you. And the reason I made that earlier remark is I had phoned Mr. Merrick up the day of that hearing and informed him that there was a 0.3 meter on that property, because I remember passing that way back in 2011 or 13 or whatever it was. And anyway, so I believe that's the last lot that has that on it. So we might be free and clear from here on out. But are there any questions through to Mr. Merrick? All right, seeing none, the recommendation is that Planning Report 2026-8 dated June 10, 2026 regarding 32 Fisher Drive reserve transfer be received, and that council approve the assumption of lands described as Part 4 of Plan 51R-45292 as part of the township's road network and consider the necessary bylaw. And mover, please. Deputy Mayor Locks. Seconder, please. Councillor O'Leary. All those in favor? And that is carried. And then we are on to staff report PLA 2026-9, 4874 Concession Road 7, removal of the hold. Mr. Merrick.
Thank you, Your Worship. So yes, this staff report, PLA 2026-009, is in regards to 4874 Concession Road 7, which is the former PV Mart site located within the Highway 89 employment lands. The purpose of this report and application is to remove the existing holding H1 symbol from the subject lands, which are zoned employment E1, to permit the reuse of the existing building as a self-storage facility and a contractor shop in accordance with zoning bylaw 13-14. The requirement for the removal of the H1 holding symbol is the execution and registration of a site plan agreement that would support, in this case, the existing building for a self-storage facility and contractor shop.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions through to Mr. Merrick on this report? Seeing none, the recommendation is a staff report PLA 2026-9 dated June 10, 2026 regarding 4874 Concession Road 7, removal of hold be received, and that council approve the application to remove the holding H1 provision from 4874 Concession Road 7, thereby enabling the lands to be used in accordance with the underlying employment E1 zone permissions, and consider the associated amending bylaw. The mover, please. Councillor Cox, seconded Councillor Borzos. All those in favor? And that is carried. We're on to 14.6, which is staff report CLK 2026-11 with regards to CTC Source Protection Committee joint appointment nomination. Ms. Reed?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm actually going to refer through to Deputy Clerk Hale for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. The purpose of this report is to seek council endorsement for Chris Jarretts to continue as the jointly appointed representative on the CTC Source Protection Committee. Mr. Jarretts is the current mayor of Amaranth and has been our joint representative on this committee since 2016. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions with regards to the appointment? Seeing none, the recommendation is a staff report CLK 2026-11 dated June 10, 2026 regarding CTC Source Protection Committee joint appointment nomination be received, and that council endorse the nomination of Chris Jarretts as CTC Source Protection Committee representative for the municipal group consisting of Dufferin County, the County of Simcoe, the Township of East Halifax, Township of Amaranth, Town of Orangeville, Town of Mono, and the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio. Mover, please. Councillor Cox, seconded by Councillor Simpson. All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so we have 3 further reports to discuss, so we're back to items 13.1. Councillor Meadows? Sure, I can go to staff, but this is just a memo confirming the details that were previously submitted to council as being accurate. Well, confirming the last time for sure, so.
No, I just
Yep.
thought there might have been some updates, but it doesn't look like there's any updates, so.
No.
And I said my piece enough on this, so, anyway.
Okay. Are there any further questions with regards to 13.1? All right, so the recommendation is that staff report IND 2026-12 dated June 10, 2026 regarding DREA follow-up response to council's inquiries be received. And mover, please. Councillor Cox. Seconder, please.
Can I have a recorded vote, please?
Councillor O'Leary for second. Madam Clerk, we've had a request for a recorded vote from Councillor Meadows, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Meadows, in favor or against?
Against.
Councillor Borzos, in favor or against?
Against.
Councillor Cox, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor O'Leary, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor Simpson, in favor or against?
Against.
Deputy Mayor Locks, in favor or against?
In favor.
And Mayor Anderson, in favor or against?
Against.
That's 3 in favor, 4 against.
Motion is defeated. All right, we're on to item 13.2. Councillor Meadows, you also pulled that?
That was. Asset management. Oh, the asset management, yeah. Reading that report, it didn't say whether we have an actual asset management plan in place, so do we or don't we?
Mr. Johnston?
Through the chair, Councillor Meadows, Township Council approved the complete asset management plan last July 1st, 2025.
Right.
Which puts us in compliance with provincial requirements under the asset management regulation. The next plan is an update of our plan will be required in 2031.
We don't have monies going into our asset management plan right now from the budgetary process, is that correct? Or, I know there was a certain amount of monies that have to be put into place for the asset management plan for each asset that we have, is that correct?
Through the chair, just so I understand your question, you're asking about, I'll call setting aside a certain amount in a reserve fund for the funding of future asset purchases?
Well, I thought that's what the whole thing with the asset management plan was to make sure that you had enough monies in funds to make sure that asset was paid viable by the time we have to replace it. So we have to have that money set aside for that asset.
Through the chair.
So it's not really a reserve fund. It's an asset replacement fund. It's a contingency fund.
Through the chair, the asset management plan that council approved made recommendations that council should follow in future years. Our existing asset management plan has made recommendations, and those are subject to council incorporation in next year's capital budget and future capital budgets as well. So it serves as a recommendation. Council has endorsed it, but it doesn't bind council to follow each specific recommendation in it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and thank you. And I just want to clarify, so we do contribute to our asset management reserve fund each year, but we don't necessarily take each specific item in our asset management plan and put a dollar figure to it. We just have a generic dollar value going to our asset management reserve fund to fund future asset management pieces. Mr. Anderchuk?
Through your worship, that is essentially correct. We contribute money into capital reserves, approximately 1.5 million through the operating budget, but that will not fund what is recommended in the asset management plan. So, and that isn't unusual. The fact many municipalities make contributions to their capital reserves, and it comes nowhere near funding what is recommended in an asset management plan.
No, I just want to clarify that we were putting at least some dollars into an asset management reserve fund.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions with regards to this? All right, sorry, Councillor O'Leary.
My question would be to our treasurer, what would it cost us per year to make a substantial contribution to our asset management program, like 5%, 10% of the gross value, or what, what's the life expectancy of a piece of equipment, and how much does it cost today? What's its future cost projected to be, and all these things calculated? Is there somewhere or somebody who can give us this information, and so we could make a decision to how we're going to contribute to this fund?
So Mr. Anderchuk or Mr. Johnstone, I know there's the value that's out there. I think it's around 3 something. But anyways, Mr. Anderchuk, if you have the asset management plan has a total of what we should be funding, right?
Through the chair, the asset management plan has a value that's recommended for how much our township should put towards the maintenance and replacement of assets in the township. I apologize, I'm booting up my computer, but that number is in the plan.
It's there?
Yes.
And I thought that was around 3 and something million. Might be more now, but okay. All right. And then I just wanted to confirm one detail, and I believe I had a quick conversation with staff, but I just want to confirm. So the asset management plan was approved last year. It's a 5-year cycle, and we only need progress reports presented to council to meet the legislative requirements for the asset management plan legislation. Correct?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct.
Okay. And are we able to update that within our asset management plan on our website, that we've received that progress so that there's a public record?
Yes, we certainly can.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, we can take a similar approach as we do with the strategic plan, where we place the CAO's report card on the website next to the strat plan. We can do the same thing with the asset management plan and just add this report.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so the recommendation is that staff report IND 2026-14 dated June 10, 2026 regarding 2026 asset management plan progress, asset management progress update be received. Mover, please. Councillor Borzos, seconder, please. Councillor Cox. All those in favor? And that is carried. And then 13.3, Councillor Meadows.
Yeah, I have some questions with regards to this report. This was a fire that happened between, from what I could see on the mapping or whatever, it was between the years 2018 and 2020. And the analysis and discussion, we're asking to give refunds for the staff be authorized to decrease 2025 residential taxes in the amount of $540 and 2024 residential taxes. The problem is, it says here on May 4th, 2026, an MPAC representative visited the site in response to receiving the application made under Section 357 and reported that the previous garage had been destroyed by fire and then demolished. As per Section 357, a building on the land was damaged to the extent that it had been rendered substantially unusable, is eligible for a reduction or refund of all and part of the taxes levied. Now, when you go and look on the interactive mapping, the building was put up in 2024 to 2026. So something's not jiving here in this report. And I just want clarification on it, that's all.
I'll look to staff if there's anyone that can answer that question. Mr. Anderchuk?
Through the chair to Councilor Meadows. So we have received a request for reduction of taxes for the property related to the garage that's been demolished, and confirmed through MPAC. MPAC has provided us with a reduction number. My understanding is now the garage has been rebuilt.
Yeah, it was rebuilt in between 2024 and 2026, according to the interactive maps on the County of Simcoe.
So my understanding, there's two processes at play. So the resident is entitled to a reduction because the garage burnt down, and we are obligated to process it. It's council's decision to approve or disapprove, and the resident has the right to, to go to the ARB to appeal it. The rebuilding of the garage is up to MPAC to inform us what the new value of the property is with the new garage, and that has not happened yet. So there's two processes at play. There's a reduction of taxes for the garage that burnt down, and then there's the reassessment of the property because a new garage was built, and that information hasn't made its way back to the municipality yet.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, it's up, and it's been up since 2024. So I don't get it. Maybe the building department can give us an update on this, but I feel, like we're giving somebody taxes back when the building's already up. So.
Ms. Anderson, if you'd like.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to look up that permit when it was issued for the rebuild.
But again, to Mr. Anderchuk's point, we have to rely on MPAC as for the assessment of the property, not for when the building permit was issued.
Well, I guess
what I would say is they did their building was raised by fire.
Right.
They are entitled to a reduction in taxes. they will be reassessed, which will probably be assessed higher than what they were previously assessed because it's a brand new build. And so I think at the end of the day, it all works out in the wash, to be honest.
Well, it's just, don't forget all these records, they go into a file and they, down the road, there may be issues, I don't know. But when it says on May 4th, 2026, MPAC went out there as a representative and visited the site, okay, and there's a building on that site, it's not right when the building's already built and it was built in 2025, 2024. So I don't know. You can vote on it. I won't be supporting it because of the fact the information isn't correct on the report that came to council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions on the item? Seeing none, the recommendation is that Staff Report Finance 2026-7 dated June 10, 2026 regarding the application for cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes 7,000 Concession Road 3 be received, and that staff be authorized to decrease 2025 residential taxes in the amount of $544.82, 2024 residential taxes in the amount of $531.53, and 2023 residential taxes in the amount of $512.13, for a total reduction of $1,588.48 based on the reduction of residential assessment of $63,000. Do I have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Cox, and the seconder, Deputy Mayor Laux. All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so we're on to now correspondence. We had one item of correspondence pulled as well, which was 13.8. And Councillor Meadows, this is with regards to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Proposed changes to the County of Simcoe planning responsibilities and proposed amendments to Ontario Regulations 52597 and 69998.
Yeah, I just had a question.
Through
Miss-
your
Miss-
worship,
Miss
I'm going
Anderson,
to
yeah.
forward this on to Greg. We have looked at this.
Mr. Merrick?
Through you, your worship, to Councillor Meadows. What the county has been given the authority to do is to sort of pass a bylaw that would allow for some non-complex local official plan amendments not to have to go to the county for approval. We've been sort of talking about this for many years, so that authority through the regulation change will be available. And I think there's a date sometime in November of this year when they're able to put forward those changes, and then some of our more minor applications will no longer, we will be our own approval authority. The more complex applications and new official plans, as we brought forward recently, will still need to be approved by the county, but it's more of that routine, non-complex local OPA that can be approved by the local municipality and not have to go on for further approval.
Yes, sir.
So with regards to that means this will probably make the process a little better. Is that correct? Like the process will go forward faster so people can get stuff done?
Through your worship, to Councillor Simpson, or Meadows, I apologize. I get you guys mixed up. Anyway, that is correct. So you're taking away an extra layer of process, an extra application, an extra fee for the resident applicant. Right now, I think it's $3,000 the County of Simcoe charges for the processing of that local OPA on their end. So you're probably reducing costs by $3,000 and reducing the timeline by probably 6 weeks for those, let's say, routine applications.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Merrick, has the county indicated that they are going to pass such bylaws to allow that? Or have you had conversations? Because if they are, then I think we also need to review our processes, because it could take us a bit of time to review. We may have to up our review consultation fees as well, if that's the case, so that we're actually covering all of our bases, that we would maybe let the county do some of that workload, right? So just looking to see if that is an option for the county, or have they had any discussions with you?
Yes, Your Worship. As I noted, it's been something that the county was looking to pursue for some time, but it needed an amendment to sort of provincial regulation, and the province at the time wasn't sort of willing to entertain that change, but they are now, based on this ERO posting. So I expect that we're going to get an announcement shortly. We have a meeting scheduled for this Friday, and I expect that the update will probably be that they're anticipating making those changes, for the in effect date of November 2026.
Okay, thank you. And then I just look in the staff again when we're looking at our fees and charges bylaw to make sure that we're capturing everything that would be required for our staff to do the same work. All right, any further questions? Seeing none, so the recommendation is that the correspondence from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing dated June 1, 2026 regarding proposed changes to the County of Simcoe planning responsibilities and proposed amendments to Ontario Regulation 52597 and 69998 be received. Mover, please. Councillor Cox, seconded by Councillor Meadows. All those in favor? And that is carried. So that takes us on to item 16, which is bylaws. So 16.1 is bylaw 2026-027, the development charges bylaw. And the recommendation is that bylaw 2026-027 being a bylaw for the imposition of development charges and to repeal bylaw 2184 be enacted. And do I have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Cox, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laux.
Can I have a recorded vote, please?
Madam Clerk, a request for a recorded vote from Councillor Meadows.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Meadows, in favor or against?
Against?
Councillor Borzos, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor Cox, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor O'Leary, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor Simpson, in favor or against?
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Laux, in favor or against?
In favor.
And Mayor Anderson, in favor or against?
Against?
That's 5 in favor, 2 against.
Thank you. The motion's carried 5-2. We're on to 16.2, which is bylaw 2026-028, a bylaw to assume the reserves described as Part 4 of Plan 51R 43292. That's 32 Fisher Drive in Everett. And the recommendation is that bylaw 2026-028 being a bylaw to assume a reserve described as Part 4 of Plan 51R 43292, 32 Fisher Drive, Everett, be enacted. Mover, please. Councillor Borzos, seconded by Councillor O'Leary. Any questions, further questions on this one? All those in favor? And that is carried. And then 16.3 is bylaw 2026-029. And the recommendation is a bylaw 2026-029 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 0357 as amended by removing the holding symbol from lands municipally known as 4874 Concession Road 7, Adjala-Tosorontio be enacted. Mover for that one. Deputy Mayor Laux, seconded by Councillor O'Leary. All those in favor? And that is carried. We're on to item 17, which is the notice of motion. Are there any notices this evening? Sorry, Councillor Meadows.
Yeah, I just have a notice of motion. I would like staff to bring back a report on what's happening with Concession Road 7, the drainage that was happening on there. I was told it was supposed to come.
I need it in writing, right? So if I can give you a few moments.
Okay, just a report back to council with regards to.
I still need it in writing.
Well, I don't have it in writing.
Write it on a piece of paper and give it to the clerk.
Somebody got a piece of paper? Thank you.
Concession Road 7?
Yeah.
89 and The 7th. That's Burnside.
I want to hear what the motion first is.
Okay.
Sure.
You want to read it first?
If you'd like to read it.
Yeah, I'll read it. That a report come back to council on the drainage ditch project on the 7th concession and 89 highway by the next council meeting.
Okay, so you're looking for an update on the
Because we were told that it was going to be.
That's fine.
done,
I'm just
so, yeah. I
looking
just
for
want an update.
clarification.
Just like an update on what's going on.
Okay. Madam Clerk, was there any indication of that coming from the drainage superintendent, or can we provide an update at the next council meeting?
Thank you, Your Worship, through to council. The Director of Public Works and I do have a meeting tomorrow with Tom Pridham to finalize when the report will be coming forward. We are anticipating that the final drainage report will be coming forward in July or August for council's consideration. Happy to report back, though, if it's the direction of council.
Right. So again, it won't be until 2 meetings, though, right? So this won't be considered till next meeting,
Oh, that's
and then
right,
it'll be
too.
one. So,
Yeah.
so
As-
if you're happy, like, we can put it on the agenda. If we get something before,
That's
then
right.
we
If
can.
it gets canceled, then put it on before, then that's fine. Yeah.
Okay,
No
so
problem.
that's
For
your
now,
notice of motion?
That's my
We're-
notice of
all
motion
right.
for now.
Thank you. Just make sure the clerk gets that after the meeting, and then we will add that to the next agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Any other notice of motion? Okay, and there was no new business, so we are on confirmation bylaw. Bylaw 2026-30 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio at its regular council meeting held on June 10, 2026 be enacted. Mover, please. Councillor Cox, seconded by Councillor Simpson. All those in favor? And that is carried. And we are adjourned at 8:56 PM. Thank you, council. Thank you, residents.